The Lagrange X space astronomy, located at point L1 between the Earth and the Sun, detected a gamma burst, also known as GRB, appearing at the edge of the Messier 94 galaxy, about 16 million light-years from Earth. Usually, a GRB case only lasts a few seconds, but this time, it lasted almost 11 minutes. No one has ever witnessed the same thing. Dr. Marja Lindholm, a Finnish astrophysicist, was the first person to mark this explosion at the soft alert level. Not because it's dangerous, but because it's too quiet. We didn't hear anything. No radio waves. No cosmic noise. Just light. 3 days later, at the Singapore Institute of Technology, a researcher measured a small change in the intensity of low-energy photons in the troposphere, as if there was a strange light creeping into the atmosphere. No one believes, because no one sees anything. The second week, a hospital in Tokyo received a strange patient. A 16-year-old girl suddenly lost consciousness while watching the sunset livestream. No brain damage, stable heart, normal EEG. But when she woke up, she couldn't speak Japanese. I can't speak English either. But a completely unknown language. At first, people thought it was temporary brain damage. Until the second patient appeared in Brazil. Then Tuesday in Canada. Then dozens of cases in Iceland, Australia, Kenya, Vietnam. All have in common. All are unconscious during the day. No brain damage. When you wake up, speak the same strange language, the same to each syllable structure. No one has ever learned or known that language. The World Health Organization declared a global health emergency. The word language translation was first included in the list of socio-psychological phenomena that need to be investigated. Meanwhile, NASA's research team began to analyze the gamma burst. An unusual thing. Light to the Earth is not in the form of a beam, but in the form of information waves. The structure oscillates extremely like neural signals. Dr. Marja Lindholm wrote in the report, "We still think that light only transmits energy. But what if light can carry information, even language structure? Maybe this GRB is not a space accident. It's a signal." The fourth week, the patients no longer fall into a coma. They sat quietly for hours as if listening to someone talking in their heads. Some people started drawing spiral symbols, like light wave maps. The second month, the first case happened in Germany. A patient, after waking up, made a sound and broke the glass 4 meters away. Don't shout. Just say something in a strange language. When returned to the recording tape and frequency analysis, physicists discovered that statement creates unstable resonant movements in the air, as if that language is not for speaking, but for physical impact. The UN established a special research force. Code name, Project Photoglossia, roughly translated, light variation. They gave the initial hypothesis. A form of alien knowledge energy is transmitting signals by gamma light. But instead of digital data, it uses prototype language, capable of engraving into human nerves. The 74th day since the explosion happened, a 10-year-old boy in the Netherlands woke up after 5 days in a coma. He got out of bed, looked straight at the camera, and spoke the right language. No one understands. But a glass door in the room began to vibrate slightly, and the nearby metal plate moved a few millimeters. The 83rd day since the gamma explosion, the number of people affected by the strange light has reached nearly 3,000 people globally. Scientists no longer call it SYMPTMS or syndromes. Some academic journals began to call them muters, common points. They all use the same unknown language. No one has ever learned that language. No one can translate that language. But the strange thing is, they still understand each other. At the Cambridge Institute of Linguistics, Professor Dae-Min Young, an expert in primitive languages, stated, "They don't use linear syntax language like us. They are conveying ideas directly, through sound and vibration." They didn't say. They carve vibrations into space. A recording was published at the UN conference. It's not a human voice. Not singing. No need to say. But it's like a light triple sound, alternating with an ultra-high frequency band that can't be heard by the naked ear. When playing that sound near the pure water mass, the surface of the water forms a perfect Fibonacci spiral. At the same time, the magnetic field meter detects local oscillations. We are hearing a language that can change its material properties. WHO and NASA organize a joint research group. The Photoglossia project is upgraded to PLE, Photonic Linguistic Evolution, Photonic Language Evolution. An American man, after waking up, was asked, "What are you talking about?" He didn't answer. "Just raise your hand to touch the wall. Make a sound." The wall changes color. A little girl in Chile, when pronouncing 3 light syllables, made the nearby bonsai bloom even though it was winter. No one can explain. But one thing is clear. They are no longer normal people. The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting. Many countries fear that this is the first stage of a non-forced occupation, where humanity is rewritten from within in language. Meanwhile, at a private research station in Canada, a neurolinguistic doctor discovered the brain of people exposed to light restructures the link network. The linguistic brain lobe is no longer the only center. The brain acts as a resonance chamber. They no longer listen and understand. They become the language. The 101st day, a group of 7 people were brought into a special soundproof room. Requirement: no sound. After 2 hours, scientists noted, the walls of the room began to soften like rubber. The floor vibrates slightly. The electronic devices in the room are completely turned off. No one speaks a single language. But the physical impact still happens. When the group was given, they all smiled and said a single phrase together in the language of light. No one understands, but everyone feel relieved, as if just hearing a comforting word that does not need translation. The new question is asked: is this a natural evolution, or is a signal sent to Earth for a greater purpose? In the latest recording from the infrared camera of the PLE Institute, a patient changed his voice after 4 days without saying anything, stood in the middle of the laboratory. Say only one word with light, just one word, and the metal table in front of me turned into a transparent crystal. The girl raised her head, her eyes shining silver. "We are not sick. We are just the first trial." The 123rd day since the Gamma explosion. The UN officially classifies the phenomenon of translation as undefined linguistic nerve transformation instead of epidemic. But with big governments, it's not safe enough. In the US, Russia, China, and the European Union, detention facilities for turned people are set up in the name of biological security control. Some people are locked up in their own homes. Others are missing. Meanwhile, data from PLE shows the opposite. It's not that these people are out of control, but they are operating at a higher level of consciousness. Professor Malika Amini, majoring in model neurology at the PLE Institute, announced a shocking discovery. Gamma light carries not only energy, but also a tuning signal. It reloads brain circuits, converts the language system into a new model. Conceptual language, a form of language that is not based on vocabulary, but a conceptual carrier. Evidence? The patient changes his voice when saying a sentence, causing the room temperature to rise slightly. Another person lowers his own blood pressure with an unclear syllable. A group of 5 people read the language of light in unison, causing the nearby lake to oscillate as if there was a secondary gravity. This is not a miracle. This is conscious-level physics. Malika Amini. However, the world media began to divide. On the one hand, people consider those who change their voices as divine evolution, the next step of mankind. One side calls them tools controlled by alien forces. Protests broke out in many countries. In Brazil, a group of people were burned alive by a frightened crowd. In Canada, a girl was attacked for speaking in a unlike human voice. The world began to panic. Meanwhile, the light signal from the Gamma explosion continues to travel to the Earth. Only different. It no longer spreads in a regular circle, but aimed directly at the most powerful brain centers. At the PLE laboratory, a decisive test is carried out. A patient with a bar is placed in an isolated dark chamber, surrounded by sensors measuring gravitational fields, gas fluctuations, magnetic fields, brainwaves. The girl was asked to say the open keyword. She just silently closed her eyes. "Open your mouth and say only one word." The result? Brain waves increased to 380 Hz, exceeding normal biological limits. A metal object in the room moves 2 centimeters without impact force. At the same time, the researchers all have the same image in their minds. A glowing spherical planet with a door opening in the middle of the light. No one describes the same, but everyone understands it's an invitation. We are not compromised. We are being called by name. Dr. Rahim Ortega, conscious physics expert, Day 131. In a remote area in Australia, 12 people gathered. They don't know each other, but when standing next to each other, their bodies glow as light as fluorescent. They sat down together. Let's say the same sentence, in a strange language, and the sky above them turned silvery purple for 17 seconds. There is no rain. There is no thunder. It's just the sky answers. A leaked video from the European Space Research Station. A boy was asked, "Are you afraid?" He smiled and replied in the language of light. When translating by AI, the system only shows a single line. Afraid is when we don't know we are being born again. The 142nd day since the Gamma explosion. The Earth map is now divided into two regions. Infection zone, where people gather, usually natural points, highlands, fluctuating magnetic fields. Stable zone, where countries tighten their management, prohibiting all forms of pronunciation of language of light. The world is no longer one. Language, what used to connect people, has now become a boundary. In Geneva, the 12th meeting of the United Nations to discuss. Should we consider transitation as a new species? Suggested name, Homo luminous, light man. The tense debate lasted for many days. A scientist spoke up. They don't need to eat much. No need to sleep for a long time. They communicate in a form that transcends language, directly transmits ideas. Another person countered. They're no longer people. They are leaving humanity, both in terms of biological and social structure. In an isolation facility in Greenland, a 17-year-old teenager with a voice was taken with a brain magnetic resonance imaging. Result: hippocampus, memory storage area, expands by 27%. The brain reacts to 7 different languages at the same time without learning. When he pronounced "from light," all the machines in the room turned off by themselves. You didn't say. You shake the truth with frequency. Dr. Valeria Munoz, biological acoustic expert. Day 150. In the Atacama Desert, a group of more than 300 people gathered. No one organized. No one directs. But they all say the same "Syl," like a sutra. At 3:17 a.m., a streak of blue light appeared in the sky above them, falling slowly like dew. At the same time, all mechanical clocks in the area stopped for 8 minutes and 13 seconds. No one can explain. At Oxford University, the group of experts stated, "It is not the human race that is affected, but the global cognitive system is being re-established. The language of light is not something to learn. It is a system of consciousness, transmitted through gaze, vibration, deepest empathy. Whoever receives it will change. Whoever resists will forever stand out of evolution." Day 160. World communication is divided into 2 data streams. One side believes that light is the cosmic gospel. The other side believes that it is a sophisticated, intrusive technology, making people destroy their own social structure. What about the person who turns the voice? They don't refute. They don't need to refute. They just keep living, gentle, quiet, and sometimes, when they touch each other, they glow. Not the light can see, but the light that can be felt. A form of peace that words cannot express. Day 188. At PLE's top-secret meeting room, the final discovery was announced. The Gamma explosion in 2083 was not a cosmic accident. It is a kind of boot protocol. An ancient language was sent by light, not to conquer, not to control, but to recall the primitive memory of the universe in each cell of life. Excerpt from the last diary of Professor Malika Amini. I don't know if we are evolving or returning to something that was once sacred, but I believe one thing. We no longer talk to understand each other, but to shake the world with the deepest silence in each person.